go. Well, thanks everyone for coming. I'm going to kind of go through a couple of things real quick before we get started. I'm going to turn it in. I know everybody came because they wanted to talk. Real quick, as I travel around the country, I know a lot of people are not really familiar with MOAA Vacations. So I just want to take just a second and kind of let everybody know exactly who we are and what we do. MOAA, obviously the Military Officers Association of America, selected us to be their travel partner. We are actually the official travel agency for the 375,000 former military officers, actually active, retired, former, and dependent military officers in the United States from all the branches of service. It's something we take great pride in. And a lot of times people wonder, out of the 30,000 plus travel agencies in the United States, why MOAA selected Brenco to be their travel agency partner. And quite simply, it is superior service, lower prices, and free amenities. You'll see that kind of in some of the things that we talk about today. The superior service, obviously, you're not going to experience that until you give us a call or drop us an email and let us show that to you. But I can tell you, when associations like MOAA select us, the number one reason we hear from them is the fact that we provide superior service. So we're here today to talk about Africa. And we started out with a little video. So there you go. So on behalf of Sherwin and myself, I want to thank everybody for joining us today to learn more about Africa. Before we get started, I did want to let everybody know we are taping this presentation. So either this afternoon or tomorrow morning, you'll get an email that will include a link to this presentation so you can view it again if you like. We also want you to know that please feel free to invite friends and family to join you on this, so you can share the video with them if you'd like to. We're going to go through a lot of information as we go through it. If you have questions, if you look over the right, I think most people's screen layout is the same, but at the very bottom, at least on the right side navigation bar, you'll see some buttons. There is a chat, and I see somebody's already posted in chat. And then there's also a one that says questions. And so as we're going, if you want to put a question in the questions tab, that's something that Sherwin and myself can answer at the end, because after Sherwin gets done talking about African travel and all the options that we have for safaris and just travel throughout Africa, Sherwin and I are going to go through and answer all the questions. If it's something that really doesn't require a lot of discussion, and it's just like a quick query that you might have, feel free to drop that in chat. Someone from African Travel will be answering those chat questions during the presentation. But if you'd like Sherwin and myself to address something, you need to put that in questions, because we're going to answer all those questions at the end. So I know that's kind of a kind of quick kind of overview of how that will work. But hopefully everyone can find that. So without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Sherwin, and he is going to talk to us about everything that is out there in Africa for you to see and do. So Sherwin, thank you for joining us today. Take it over.
John, thank you so much. It's such a pleasure for us to be talking with all of you today. And John is a true travel professional expert. Know that you are in good hands when you speak with anyone on his team. We have been partners in this travel business for some time now, and he truly is some of the best in the industry. So, John, thank you again for this wonderful opportunity.
Thank you.
Uh, Thank you for joining us. Like I said, my name is Sherwin Banda. I am born in South Africa. I was born in South Africa. It is a place that I have returned to many times, and it's a place where I've achieved some of my biggest life's goals and milestones. As you can see, this is my family. I met my husband in South Africa. I returned to South Africa in 2011 to get married and adopt our son Noah. And it is a place that we've just returned from 3 weeks ago. having spent some time with friends and family. So I'm going to share with you a little bit of my favorites as I've journeyed across Africa. But first, I want you to come with me to my home native birthplace, South Africa. This is Cape Town. It is the mother city of South Africa. Like I mentioned, it was the place where I was born, and so much of my story happened there. It is a destination that continues to win every accolade as the number one adventure capital of the world. It is also often the first start of any journey when visiting South Africa. The country is a multicultural nation. While each culture is unique, what connects the people together is the fact that they are all intrinsically South African. And this people love sharing their culture and their genuine sense of hospitality with everyone they meet. South Africa offers a diversity of experiences, and one of my favorite experiences is actually going up Table Mountain. And I've done this since I was a little boy. Today, the cable car goes up and it rotates 360 degrees multiple times as it ascends to the top of Table Mountain. Now, once you reach Table Mountain, the top, the summit, the views are simply breathtaking, overlooking the city as well as the seascape. Table Mountain is a World Heritage Site and it is part of the Table Mountain National Park. It is home to more than 1,400 different species of endemic fauna and flora called fynbos. And it is this variety that has given the world rooibos tea. It's a herbal tea, and which translates to red bush tea, and you can actually find that on Amazon. Cape Town has a lot of sightseeing opportunity, and it's the first introduction to South Africa's wildlife when you journey to this part of town. Just a short boat ride from Table Mountain is Seal Island, which is home to the Cape Fur seals. They are such a delight to watch because of their agility, their curiosity, and their trusting nature that they have. This is also the place where you will see lots of sharks breaching on a on a basis. And this is your first pit stop before reaching Boldest Beach. Now, Boulders Beach is one of Cape Town's most visited beaches and probably the only land based experience on the African continent where you can get this close to the African penguins. These penguins are waddling on the beach in all their glory right under your nose. The penguin colony is estimated to be between 2,000 and 3,000 birds and has been classified as an endangered species. And thankfully, due to good conservation efforts, Boulders Beach is part of Table Mountain National Park, which is a protected area. So these marine animals are growing and thriving on a daily basis. Now, as you journey across Cape Town, there's a number of great pit stops. The next pit stop would be Cape Point. Now, this is where the two oceans actually meet, the cold Atlantic Ocean and the warm Indian Ocean. Cape Point is located in the national park and it actually has resident wildlife. So, this is your first introduction to Africa's wildlife. And there are undoubtedly amazing sightings of baboons, and you will also see the Cape zebra, which is the smallest of all existing species found only in certain parts of the mountain regions within the Cape province of South Africa. Now, just as diverse as the landscape uh, of Cape Town and South Africa is its variety of dining options. Now, one of my favorite dining experiences is actually going to Gold's restaurant because it has an immersive journey of food, wine, and entertainment from various regions across Africa. Yeah, you cannot be helped but be swept away by the entertainment of African song and dance while enjoying some of the nation's best food and wine. Prior to dinner, guests are invited to partake in an interactive drumming session, which is one of the highlights of this dinner experiences, and I know that you will love it too. If you want to experience truly the best of the best in South Africa and its wine region, you would have to visit areas like Constantia, Franschhoek, Paarl, or Stellenbosch, which is uh, Cape Town's wine region. The experience is as much as about the gorgeous scenery as it is about the wine itself. This is a magical and moment when you experience the delight of Africa's wine. It delights the senses as you enjoy tasting all the red and the white wines, the local cheeses, and olive oil unique pairings, which you can only find in this part of the world. Now, one of my absolute favorite experiences when I'm in Cape Town is seeing the mother city on a motorcycle and sidecar. It is a great way to explore Cape Town without the worries of crowds and confined spaces. And in the background there, you will see some colorful houses. This is Boerkaap, which is an area where a lot of Cape Malays are now nestled, and they have influenced the Cape cuisine um, in beautiful ways because of the rich spiciness introduced that in the South African culinary experiences. Now, just 2 hours by flight, you are in the heart of the bush. South Africa is home to the Big Five. Yeah, when you stay in South Africa's bush, you will experience luxurious accommodations of varying styles and has all the creature comforts that you would expect of a gorgeous five-star hotel. So picture 4 seasons in the bush. One of my favorite things is actually staying in a tented accommodations because you literally hear the bush at night 24/7. However, when you stay with us, you will stay on private conservancies, which means that the area that you are staying on, you are allowed, while it's in a national park, because it's privately operated and managed, guides can actually go off road, which means if you have a sighting in the middle of the bush that's not on the driven path, guides will bring you face to face with Africa's big five. Literally, you'll be having your own National Geographic moment on safari. Now, when you travel with MOAA Vacations and partnering with African Travel, you actually support wildlife conservation. We work with conservancies to rehabilitate endangered animals in the wild through our not-for-profit organization, Tread Right. So we are so excited that we have partnered with Shamwari Private Game Reserve recently to release an orphaned rhino in South Africa. Your tourism dollars will leave a lasting legacy in Africa long after you've come back home. Now, my favorite ways as a child growing up in Africa, experiencing the bush, was actually just walking it by foot. A walking safari is one of the purest ways to experience the African bush, and there is no better than doing so by foot. Walks typically last between 2 and 4 hours, and guests are accompanied by a safari guide and a tracker. The guides will identify tracks, highlight interesting insects, talk to you about fascinating plants, and discuss the ecosystem in general, as well as sometimes tracking larger animals. It is a great way to appreciate the bush, and it is a safe way to experience Africa in the wild. Now, you can obviously, when you track uh, animals on foot, you are allowed then actually also to see Africa's smallest insects and animals. And here's an example of a dung beetle. It is truly the unsung hero of Africa. They can be found where there is animal dung. They are known as the rollers in of the bush and are often finding their supply as they roll their dung balls quickly to avoid their dung being stolen by other dung beetles. Dung beetles play an instrumental role in the ecosystem, and you would never learn about them if you had not taken a journey through the bush by foot. Now, another favorite of mine are the African meerkats. They are not tame, but they will gladly snuggle up to travelers on a chilly morning. And they are often known to climb on the heads of travelers as they use our bodies as viewing posts so that they could look into the distance to see if there are any predators. It is so cute the way the meerkats stand on their hind legs. They live in large, caring, harmonious groups, and they love eating scorpions and fight snakes as they are immune to most venom. Now, of course, safari has early starts and late night stargazing. So the ultimate way to relax is being pampered between the morning and afternoon game drives. You will absolutely feel rejuvenated before heading out to your next adventure. So make time to schedule your spa service when you are on safari. Other activities includes enjoying game viewing right from the comfort of your room. I have had some of my most amazing wildlife gaming experiences while sipping my favorite cocktail in a plunge pool, relaxing between morning and afternoon game drives. And the most exciting part for the most courageous, if you want to have the ultimate bragging rights, imagine packing an overnight bag and set off to experience the ultimate bush bedroom. You'll be dropped off by a guide. You will be left with a decadent picnic basket, a radio, some of your favorite drinks to sleep underneath the African stars. My favorite activity when staying in a treehouse is staying up all night with flashlights and seeing how much I can actually see and how many animals I can actually spot before returning to camp in the morning. But no experience to South Africa is ever complete without going to Victoria Falls in Zimbabwe. Here you will absolutely stand in awe by the sheer volume of water that falls over its edge. It's recorded as the world's largest curtain of water, and locals call it the smoke that thunders because when the water falls over its precipice and lands at the bottom, it lands with a loud bang as water splashes up into the air and creates what feels like falling rain onto the surrounding areas, creating its very own rainforests on the banks of the falls. Returning to camp after seeing the splendor of the falls and after freshening up, you'll be going on a sunset cruise on the Zambezi. And it's the perfect end before having dinner under the stars in the African Boma, which is an outdoor enclosure. Guests are invited to stargaze under the night skies. Guests of ours love this itinerary because you get to see the big five on land and on water, and it's the perfect end to any South African itinerary. Now, while South Africa is often referred to as the most popular safari destination because it offers so much diversity and value for money, Botswana delivers an unmatched safari experience from the thriving waterways and smaller camps because the government has really focused on sustainability in this region. The camps are much smaller and are far fewer than in most of the other regions in Africa. And I like to think of Botswana as a high touch, low volume destination. The Okavango Delta is the largest inland delta in the world and home to several endangered species like wild dog and cheetahs. But Botswana's best kept secret is the mass zebra migration that happens twice a year as herds of zebra move first from the north to the south, then back from the south to the north. They move with the seasons and the rainfall, always in search of fresh grazing land. The zebras will cover huge tracts of land, walking over 300 miles during the course of their migrations. And this is the second largest wildlife migration on the continent. Up to 30,000 animals will be on the move at any one given time. Because of Botswana's good conservation practices, they have large number of elephant, and this is compared to anywhere else on the continent and offers game viewing experiences both by land and water. Going on safari by boat is so much quieter than listening to the hum of the safari vehicle. I normally start my morning with a water safari and end with a game drive, then switch it up on the next day to ensure I have the ultimate safari experience. Botswana is also home to the brown hyena. It's actually the rarest species of hyena. The largest remaining brown hyena population is located here in the southern Kalahari Desert and some of the coastal regions of southwest Africa. The global population of brown hyena is estimated to only be between 4,000 and 10,000, and its conservation status is marked as near threatened. The diversity of the wildlife in Botswana is simply spectacular and allows you to see animals in this part of the world where you will not be able to see it anywhere else. Meeting Africa's people is always a beautiful part of my safari experience in Africa. And in Botswana, that is no different. When you meet the San, the Bushmen, which are the oldest living humans in all of Southern Africa, and they have lived traditionally like this for more than 20,000 years. The San Bushmen are hunter gatherer people, and they are, as I mentioned, considered to be one of the oldest peoples in the world. Their home is a vast expanse in the Kalahari Desert, and a visit with the San people will allow you to take a look back in time. And it's only then when I think I understand that Africa is truly the cradle of humanity. Now, Tanzania is a beautiful part of the world, and Tanzania is also home to the greatest show on earth, the Great Wildebeest Migration. It is the largest congregation of wildebeest. So imagine, as far as your eye can see, more than 1 million wildebeest. And 80% of the migration actually takes place right here in, in Tanzania's Serengeti. And it is the route, it's an old age route of wildebeest tracking in search of grazing and water. Now, game viewing doesn't just stop because you are in camp. Some of my best game viewing actually happened in camp. And so, here's just a quick glimpse of a 24-hour time lapse of constant wildlife stopping by a watering hole right in front of camp. And these are the kind of experiences you will have when you travel with MOAA Vacations and African Travel. A Serengeti balloon safari is the fantastic experience to see wildlife from the air. It's like having a bird's eye view of game viewing. And you can see this in the early hours of the morning before sunrise. The perfect time to go in a hot air balloon because that's when the Serengeti comes to life. And here is an opportunity for you to see predator and prey activity from the sky as opposed to from the vehicle on land. One of my favorite places in Tanzania to visit is actually Ngorongoro Crater, which is home to an active a volcano called Lendwai. This volcano spews ash that spreads over the surrounding grasslands and nourishes a uniquely succulent enriched pasture. This makes the area a vital stage on the annual wildebeest migration, where it comes to this time of the year when the wildebeest actually migrate and they arrive at the Ngorongoro crater. This is actually the birthing season for wildebeest, and there is an estimate of 25,000 large animals that actually live in the Ngorongoro crater. So if you want to see wildebeest birthing and having a spectacular of wildlife experiences, Ngorongoro crater is an absolute must stop on any Tanzanian itinerary. Another favorite of mine is visiting Lake Manyara in Tanzania, which is the seventh largest lake in Tanzania. It has shallow waters, alkaline lake, and it is known for its flocks of thousands of lesser flamingos that come to Lake Manyara. Lesser minkos are the smallest and the brightest of flamingos, and this species of flamingos can only be found in Africa and in some parts of India. Now, there is a national boundary between Kenya and Tanzania. It's the Mara River, and it must be crossed because on the other side of the river is fresh new grassland. Along the way is high drama, and it's always present as thousands of animals are taken by predators and thousands more are born, replenishing the numbers and sustaining the circle of life. The river crossing is a wonderful spectacle of nature in East Africa. When you travel with us, we will also connect you with Africa's indigenous people every step of the way as you delve deeper into the magic that is Africa. Seeing animals in the wild is always amazing, but connecting with Africa's people in a heart to heart experience, we believe that is forever soul changing. Now, Kenya is the place that the wildebeests are going to cross the Mara River to get to the other part of Kenya. And Kenya is a place where the old and the new exists. But if you twisted my arm and have to ask me to name a favorite, Kenya would be one of them. And a place in Kenya that I absolutely love is Lewa for a multitude of reasons. But this area, because it offers such a diversity of activity, Kenya's safari options are unlike any other part of Africa, and they offer different perspectives for you to actually enjoy a safari experience, perhaps a camel trek or a mountain bike or a horse bike ride is an activity that can be experienced here in certain parts of Lewa where they don't have big cat predators. A special place to visit is Reteti. Now, Reteti is a Samburu community, and it's an elephant owned sanctuary. This is a place where orphaned and abandoned elephant calves are fostered with the aim to release them back into the wild. This is a grassroots community driven by a conservation product, and it's transforming lives and conservation and natural resources in this part of Kenya. The project rescues anything between 10 to 25 elephant calves in Kenya a year. And the elephant keepers are all from the indigenous Samburu community. You can adopt an elephant calf for only $50 for a year and support this community when you visit this part of Tanzania. Oh, sorry, this part of Kenya. Now, Sundowners is my absolute favorite time on safari. It's the time where I am able to watch the sky turn from day to night. And when that happens, there is an amazing display of color that you have not ever seen because there is no light pollution. So you in the bush, you're able to see the beautiful African sky while stopping, taking in the sights of and sounds of Africa while drinking your favorite cocktail. It is truly my favorite time in the bush, and it's also my favorite time to see the stars come out at night. Now, Kenya, you can see the migration anytime between July and October. The Mara Plains are littered with herds of wildebeest and zebra, and it's a fantastic spectacle of nature. If you want to see the migration, this is a wonderful itinerary to be included, and you can combine both Kenya and Tanzania on one itinerary. So many animals to see. There are Samburu National 5, which you can only find in this part of Kenya. These animals are unique to this part of the world, and you cannot see them anywhere else. There are wonderful accommodations in Kenya, and another favorite of mine is Nairobi's Giraffe Manor, located close to the Giraffe Center, and which is home to several endangered Rothschild's giraffe. It operates a breeding program to reintroduce breeding pairs back into the wild and to secure its future of this subspecies. Waking up to breakfast with a giraffe is a must do and one of my most incredible and unique experiences that I have had and that anyone will have when they visit this part of the world. This activity is reserved exclusively for overnight guests at Giraffe Manor, and it's the one that should not be missed. You will have to watch out for their long, inquisitive tongues, which can grow up to 20 inches long as they investigate what's on offer. Luckily, they are after only the nutritious dried grass pellets that they are after and not your pancakes. So it's a wonderful experience. If you love giraffes, it's a must do experience in Kenya. Now, imagine you've now done your safari and now you want to go relax doing something different before heading home. Here's an opportunity for you to switch off your noisy electronic world and enter a remote island hideaway and stay in an underwater room. You'll be completely submerged on a private island in the Indian Ocean, surrounded by coral, and experience the ebb and flow of tides. This is the ocean in a very new and profound way that will stay with you long after you have departed and come home. While Zanzibar is a beautiful place, and yes, you will discover the sights and flavors of this ancient oceanside city, Zanzibar is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, which it has a rich and storied past. Everyone who visits Zanzibar ends up taking a spice tour. It is inevitable, after all. This cluster of islands off the coast of Tanzania is nicknamed Spice Island. And fun fact, once upon a time, Zanzibar was the largest producer of clothes in the world. And for those that are interested in heritage and culture, my biggest takeaway from visiting Zanzibar was walking past some of the slave monuments and old markets. So it's a rich storied past of where the African American journey actually started. One of my other favorites is Rwanda, and it's often referred to as a land of a thousand hills. It offers one of a kind safari experiences. To top it off, this country is home to a diverse range of indigenous vegetation, wildlife, and animal species. There are 14 species of primates in Rwanda. Rwanda is renowned for its gorillas, of course, but it's also home to chimpanzees, colobus monkeys, golden monkeys, baboons, and so much more. Now, this is a picture of one of our guests. Of course, mountain gorillas are endangered. There's only estimated to be 1,063 in the wild, according to the latest census. And the average silverback gorilla can weigh up to 400 pounds and measure more than 5.5 feet on all fours. So while you will come front and center with a gorilla, like one of our guests has, and a gorilla gently touched her, literally excusing himself as he walked by. This is her words of the experience. I am forever changed and connected because of this place, and I can't wait to come again. The gentle giants need every tourism dollar so that we can protect them for future generations to come. Now, while many people will come for the gorillas, it's the people that will steal your heart. They are so welcoming. According to the World Economic Forum ranking, Rwanda is the fifth safest country in the world. And did you know that Kigali, its capital, is one of the cleanest cities in the world? The last Saturday of every month, everyone between the ages of 16 and 65 spends 2 to 3 hours of the day contributing to building homes, sweeping the hilly streets of Kigali and across the country, picking up stray bits of paper. And it is known as Umaganda Day, which means coming together in a common purpose to achieve an outcome. Travelers can join in too. You can join in too. It is a great way to make new friends and begin to understand the conservation efforts that are regarded as a way of life in this part of the world. No matter which journey you end up taking, whether it is Rwanda, whether it is South Africa, Tanzania, or Botswana, meaningful moments will reveal themselves in unexpected ways as we guide you into the heart of Africa. When you travel to Africa, you support local culture, and your tourism dollars support 1 in 10 employed people across the continent. So, why do you want to travel with us? because we include make travel matter experiences that support local communities, that support wildlife conservation, and protects the local culture when we invest those tourism dollars back into those communities. There are many people who say, oh, we go to Africa because of the people or because of the wildlife. But one thing we know to be true is that every time you go back, it's because of the people you met and how your soul has been forever touched because of that experience. When you travel with MOAA Vacations and African Travel, we are local here to plan your amazing experiences, to answer every single question. But we are also in Africa and local in that part of the world. So we will hold your hand every step of the way. You will be traveling with award winning brands, and our guests have voted us with a satisfaction rating of 4.9 out of 5. So you don't have to take our words for it. You could absolutely take our clients' words for it. So, Joanna, play the video. Let's hear what our clients have to say.
Africa is an amazing destination and should be on everyone's bucket list. Enjoy breathtaking landscapes and connect with ancient cultures that will take you deep into the heart of Africa. Use these 5 tips to help you find the right Africa. Work with experts who are exclusively focused on Africa. These experts know and understand the intimate nuances of the destination and will guide you to all the hidden gems on the continent. Make a list of places you want to see. Don't rush. You will want at least 3 to 5 days in a specific area of your itinerary. Where to stay matters too. There are many options for every travel style. Every camp, lodge, and villa are unique and offer so much more. You will definitely enjoy 5-star service. For the adventurers, I highly recommend a night in a treehouse. Make a list of all the animals you would want to see. Trek with mountain gorillas in Rwanda? Do you like to see big cats? Or help rhinos? There is so many experiences, including the Marine Big 5 in South Africa and the Samburu 5 in Kenya. Share your preferred travel style. There are many options for everyone and every bucket list and interest. Want to try something new? Do you like to slow down and be immersed? Now is the time to customize your trip.
And with that, back to you, Jon. Thank you.
Well, of course. Fantastic job. There is just so much to see and do there. We had a couple of questions. Before we got into that, I had a couple of things. I wanted to know, Sherwin, if you could talk just a second about groups and the size of the groups that you have and the availability for, the people that are joining us today to possibly put together a group of their friends, or a multi-generational trip, or for their family or something like that. Because it's amazing. I'm sure a lot of people who are here today have been on other tours and they're used to these huge group moves. So if you could talk about that real quick, I'd appreciate it.
Fantastic. Thank you, John. Groups are always a great way for people who are wanting to travel to Africa to have camaraderie and fun. And we make it really, really easy. We constitute a group, anyone traveling in groups of 10 or more. That's what we classify as a group. Now, depending on where you want to go and what you want to see may dictate how big that group can be. There are certain places like South Africa that can accommodate larger groups. There are places like Botswana that can only do smaller groups. But we can absolutely make this happen. We will take care of all of the details, all of the on the ground logistics, including local air. And if you need assistance with international air, we can absolutely do that. We actually have some group departure to Kenya that includes international air. So for one price, you can travel internationally from New York to Kenya. All of your arrangements on the ground is done in Kenya. And depending on the time of year, you could go for as little as 5,000 or as much as whatever you choose to do. So yes, John, I hope that answered your question. We can do groups to any part across Africa.
Well, I actually knew the answer.
Yes,
I just
I
was
do.
hoping you could share it. Okay, so we have some questions in chat and some questions in the question thing. So we'll just go through these. Do I need a yellow fever shot? And I know the answer to that, and I know you know the specifics. It's going to depend on where you go. But if you wanted to add more to that.
Yeah, there are places that you can go to where you don't need any shots or where you have to take any medication. There are places where in South Africa that are malaria free, so you don't even have to take anti-malarial medication. So yes, depending on where you go, you would need yellow fever, and depending on your traveling route, you would need yellow fever.
Donna asked about do you offer trips to Nambia?
To Zambia?
Nambia.
Nambia, not to
To
Namibia.
Namibia.
Ah, got it. Namibia, yes. We do offer trips to Namibia. It is a wonderful destination. It is a destination with the largest congregation of cheetah. And it's an interesting place, a beautiful place. One of my favorite places to stay is Shipwreck Lodge, which is in the middle of the desert. But you will also find ships, abandoned ships in the middle of the desert because there was once sea. So yes, we can absolutely do Namibia.
Monte asked, is security provided given the recent rise in crime in South Africa?
We have security. Our guides are with you 24/7. You have no worry about traveling across South Africa. We have the largest infrastructure on the ground in South Africa, and we literally are with you every step of the way. We meet you when you come off the plane, escort you through immigration, assist you with luggage, and transfer you to your hotel, and meet you the very next day on excursions and for sightseeing. So you are completely safe and handheld every step of the way.
Okay. Kathy asked, what activity level would you consider most of the activities?
So the most of it is very little, most of it. Now you can go from having very little to having a very active experience. We tailor every experience around everyone's desires and ability. So for those people, we take people with all kinds of disabilities to Africa, and we can facilitate all needs and wants depending on every guest.
Okay. We got a couple more, but before we do, I saw a couple people have logged off. I wanted to let everybody know before you go that we did tape this webinar. I know I said this at the beginning. We are going to send everybody a copy of this presentation. so you can view it again. You can share it with your friends, maybe put together your own group of family or friends or whatever you might want to do with that. In that email, we'll also include some brochures, some e-brochures. So for more information on all the different types of trips that are available. So, okay. What was the next one? Somebody asked about when's the best time of year to take this trip, but they didn't say which trip. But can you speak to perhaps the best time to travel to Africa?
So all of it is the best time. The animals are not going anywhere. The people are not going anywhere. The right time is the right time for you. They are regardless. So some people would say, well, for me, what defines best time is when is the rainy season and when is not. Maybe that defines the best time. And every country is different. So, for example, if people wanted to see the wildebeest migration, it is in Tanzania, July through November, and it is in Kenya in December through June. So that may dictate what the best time is. What we will do is work with your MOAA Vacations expert to identify the best time based on what it is that you want from your journey.
Gotcha. Along those lines, Marianne asked about when's the best time to see hippos in their elements.
Year round. Hippos are always in pools of water, so we know exactly where to find them. So it's a lot easier finding hippos than it is leopards, for argument's sake. And you will see hippos on every trip you go to, in regions where there is large congregation of water.
Gotcha. Frank wanted to know what is the recommended trip length and what is the average cost. Now, I don't know how you're going to come up with an average cost because that's going to depend on trip length, but doesn't it start? Did we have the package that's available for right around $5,000 that includes round trip airfare?
So that is a group departure. So
Oh,
the
okay.
group departures means that there's a set start date. So there's no flexibility with dates. You can absolutely go on our small group journeys, and as long as you are in destination, but on the first day you are part of that group departure, you can absolutely extend. What we believe the best time is, first of all, Africa is a far ways to go. So anything less than 2 week in my 10 days in my mind is just the wrong length of time.
Yeah.
Because it's so far, and the first day and the last day are travel days. And then also bearing in mind that you are adjusting to a new time zone. So that's why we recommend 10 days to be the best length of time to give you the most amazing immersive experience. From a price point of view, for those people who are looking for great value, our small group journeys are the perfect way to go because we negotiate those prices based on 10 or more traveling guests, and we give the value back to the travelers. For those people who are wanting to travel as an independent travel, which what that means is I'm traveling by myself or I'm traveling with my specific individual or traveling party, depending on what you want, I always work on $1,000 a day. That's the safest price point that you will get to. Now, obviously, you can get less than that, yes, but it's a safe price point for those people who are looking for luxury experiences, luxury accommodations, and the perfect amount of time in every area.
Okay. Couple more. What is the best city in South Africa for international flights? And what destinations do most trips begin? So,
Okay, so to South Africa, Cape Town or Johannesburg. The majority of flights actually fly into Johannesburg and connect 2 hours to Cape Town. There are direct flights from the United States, from New York to Johannesburg on United and on Delta to Cape Town. Those are direct flights into South Africa. Most itineraries we tend to put together starts in Cape Town because Cape Town is a great entryway to start a journey because of the diversity of experiences there. However, sometimes people fly into Johannesburg and then connect. It's only a 2-hour flight. There are amazing things to do in both cities. Some people would say, okay, I love Cape Town. Cape Town is a gorgeous place. I want to do the food. I want to do the wine. I want to do all the sightseeing. But other people would say it's not important for me to go to a city experience in Africa. I want to get immediately into the bush. So we can absolutely tailor make the experience based on the interest and the desire of every guest.
Okay. Brian asked, "Is it just me and my wife? Do we have to find 8 more people for a group?" And if I can just answer that real quick, I apologize if I said that wrong. What I was trying to say is, if you were to go on a cruise or another tour and you kind of wanted to have just an exclusive thing for your friends and your family, you're talking about having to have 40 or 50 people or those types of things. When we charter ships, it's 120 people, 140 people to do it. So it's a unique opportunity because the groups are so small. But if you and your spouse, or even you by yourself, speaking to the group in general, want to do one of these trips, we can accommodate you if you want to go either as a double or a single. If you do have a group of family or friends, we can accommodate that as well. I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
Yes. So I think it was Brian you said that asked the
Yeah.
question. So Brian, if you wanted to join one of our small group departures, it just means that you will be traveling with other individuals and you will be part of that group on a set departure date. If you want to go by yourselves and just you and your wife, we can also do that separately just for the two of you and not be part of any group. So we can do this any way your heart desires.
There you go. Wow, 2:58. We're right on time. I love that when that happens. So no more questions at the moment. Feel free if you have any questions. As I said, we're going to send you the email that's going to have this presentation in it, so you can review and see what Sherwin talked about. Share it with friends or family, or just watch it amongst yourselves. It'll have those brochures on it. It'll have our telephone number, our email address. If other questions come to your mind, as I'm sure they will, as you think about this, and talk about it amongst yourselves. So when you get that email, give us a call. We're here to help. We know almost it all. I'm not going to say we know everything, but we've got great resource with Sherwin and his team. So I want to thank everybody for coming. And then I especially want to thank Sherwin for taking time out of his busy schedule to talk to all of us today. We really appreciate it. And Sherwin, I'm going to turn it over to you for the last word.
Know that Africa is a reality for anyone, and you don't have to be overwhelmed because we are here to help you. And we will make sure that we will tick the boxes for you from an experience point of view, from a price point of view, and a logistics point of view. It is something that is within our wheelhouse, and we can make it happen for you hassle free. Thank you, Jon, for the opportunity to engage. Thank you for everyone for listening. Africa is part of my soul. It's what I wake up wanting to do every day and talk about every single day. So forgive the excitement and the passion if I came across too eagerly.
No, absolutely. Thanks everyone for coming. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.